In 2022, I spent 6,049 Yen to buy a brand new official Ricoh GR3X. In 2025, just before the release of the GR4, I made a trip to the secondhand market. Just like that, I used the GR3X for free for 3 years, took nearly 70,000 photos, and even managed to make 700 Yen with tears in my eyes. I never expected that this small APS-C fixed lens camera would be the one that gave me the most emotional value and sense of fulfillment, bar none. This is a phone co-branded with Ricoh GR cameras, the Realme GT8 Pro. Here are some photos I took recently using its GR mode. Out of 5 points, how would you rate them? To be honest, whether it's optical quality or handling experience, it could never fully replace the GR3X. After all, the gap in physical optics is right there. But when it comes to simulating the shooting experience and recreating the finished photo style, I think the GT8 Pro has already achieved 70 to 80% of what the Ricoh GR offers. As for the GT8 Pro's triple camera imaging hardware configuration, the specs are solid, comprehensive, and sufficient, so there's no need to list them all out. For basic image quality, let's look at the data from the lab's standard test analysis. For the main camera, whether in strong or low light, the center resolution, MTF10, is 1536. There is just a slight loss of edge resolution in low light. As for image brightness uniformity, the shading is 0.2 and 0.1, making the light field very flat. By default, the photos don't have any dark corners. In terms of color saturation, all the C values are negative, so the default look is generally realistic and low in saturation. As for noise, the VN values in all 3 observation states are quite low, which means that noise in the final images is not obvious. These main camera sample shots basically confirm the data we measured. As for the periscope, telephoto, and ultra-wide angle, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them, but it always feels like something is missing. Now, with a quick swipe of the shutter here, you see this 28mm and 40mm dual focal length racetrack style shutter snap for fast focusing and quick shots, plus that soulful tonal style. Congratulations, you've unlocked the Ricoh GR mode on the GT8 Pro. Realme has brought over the essence of the GR camera's core features with the simplest interaction. Using GR mode, it's the first time I've linked Realme with imaging. In pledge mode, you can't miss the sense of ritual. If you want a purer shooting experience, tap here to quickly switch between the 2 focal lengths by swiping left or right, making the viewfinder more immersive. Hey, here the 28mm and 40mm actually correspond to the physical focal lengths of the Ricoh GR3, GR4, and GR3X product lines. Personally, I prefer the 40mm on the 3X. First, the angle of view isn't too wide, so there's a certain sense of compression which makes composing shots easier. Second, the sense of distance is just right. The photos don't feel distant, giving a perfectly balanced sense of intimacy. The soul of the GR can't be separated from its signature tonal style. The GT8 Pro here offers 5 classic GR styles. The standard color is accurate. The positive film style has rich blue and green tones. The negative film is light and soft. There's a high contrast style, a black and white style with strong contrast, and a monochrome black and white that's more gentle. Just like with the GR cameras, you can also customize these presets yourself. You can also save your own presets. There are plenty of tutorials online teaching you how to choose modes, adjust recipes, and shoot more skillfully. But what I want to say is, there aren't so many rigid rules. Just try things out. As long as you think it looks good and the mood feels right, that's enough. Don't turn photography into a reading comprehension exercise. If you over-explain a photo, it loses its magic. Viewers will have their own interpretations. As for this collaboration with Li Guang, I do feel there are some regrets. Both the 28mm and 40mm modes use the native 22mm main camera without any dedicated physical focal length development. Fortunately, the style and user experience are so outstanding that they make up for this regret. If the next generation could feature a physical shutter button, the entire photography experience would be even more complete. And I don't mean a camera control button, I mean a real proper physical button with half press for focus and full press for the shutter. Setting aside the GR imaging halo, the GT8 Pro itself still feels very true to itself. The design is minimalist, without too many flashy embellishments. This time, the lipid-based regenerated leather on the blue and green back covers is just as impressive as the GT2 Pro back in the day. Although you can't change the camera lens, you can swap out the deco, round, square, or even transparent ones. When the deco shape changes, the phone case has to change with it too. It feels like the phone has its own OTD now. Let's see if Realme keeps up with this in the next generation. As you use it, you'll realize that imaging is just its side business. The GT8 Pro aims to be a well-rounded flagship, striving to match the parent company's top models. To do this, it upgrades its screen, using BOE's Q10 Plus panel with an original polarizer structure and a 6.79-inch size. The key features are 2K resolution and a 144Hz refresh rate. These specs are maxed out, but a screen can't be judged by specs alone. For actual display performance, we need to look at our lab's real-world measurements. For brightness, this 2K screen meets the standard. The maximum manual brightness is 570 nits by default, and with extended range enabled, manual brightness reaches nearly 1000 nits. The global high brightness boost can reach close to 2000 nits, but the brightness uniformity is 91%, which is just average. The default color temperature is slightly on the cooler side, which suits the visual preferences of us Asians, and overall uniformity is also quite good. If you're after precise color temperature, the professional mode can meet your needs, and both color gamut and color accuracy are excellent. It supports both sRGB and P3 adaptive modes, and especially the P3 wide color gamut, which is compressed down to 0.94. It truly lives up to the name professional mode. However, for most users, the default natural mode is already more than sufficient. Dual color gamut color accuracy delta E is about 1.5, balancing visual experience and color precision. The blue light peak of this screen is at 461 nanometers, outside the commonly recognized harmful range. To enhance gaming on this 2K 140Hz screen, the GT8 Pro has a dedicated chip. The R1 discrete GPU supports over 10 games, including Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, enabling 2K super resolution and 144Hz frame interpolation. For performance, it's powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Leading Edition and a 7000 SQMM DC cooling system. In tests, Honor of Kings runs at nearly 120 FPS with power use at just 3.7 watts and a surface temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. Not bad. The performance stays stable even under the heavier load of Genshin Impact. The 882p keeps a full frame curve with almost no fluctuations, and both power use and temperature control are impressive. Slightly better than rivals using the same chip. Performance in Honkai Star Rail is similar, with the 810p averaging 59.3 frames per second, except for the usual frame drops during combat transitions and scene changes. Overall, it's stable with good power use and temperature control, just as expected from the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Ultra. During the half-hour high load period, the 991p averaged 58.48 frames per second with power use of 6.1 watts. For the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 Ultra, that's a bit high. The max temperature on the back reached 46.7 degrees Celsius, which could be lower. Overall, although the GT8 Pro upgraded its imaging and display, it still maintains the GT series tradition of strong gaming performance. For battery life, the GT8 Pro now has a 7,000 mAh battery. In a 5-hour endurance test, it had 55% battery left at the end, which is standard. After the battery showed 0 and the phone shut down, it was still possible to play Genshin Impact for another hour. 1 hour of Genshin Impact plus half an hour of PUBG. This performance means it can easily handle a full day of heavy use in daily life. But don't expect more than that. The GT8 Pro's 120-watt fast charging stands out among today's flagship phones with large batteries. It's still very impressive. In actual tests, it can get past the charging curve in just 15 minutes and fully charge in 44 minutes. Plus, it has 50-watt wireless charging. That's right, you heard correctly. Realme, known for its straightforward approach, has finally brought back wireless charging. Wireless charging has long been considered the litmus test for a true flagship phone. For many people, I might not use it, but as a flagship, you simply can't be without it. Having it means you've crossed the threshold into true flagship territory. Without it, no matter how strong your performance is, you can only be considered a performance flagship, not a true flagship. For the fingerprint sensor, haptics, and speakers, the Realme GT8 Pro's peripheral features are now up to par. The under-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is well placed, supports accidental touch, and you just need to swipe to register your fingerprint. The vibration motor uses AAC's 0816 ultra-wideband pulse motor, which delivers layered haptic feedback. It's mainly designed to enhance gaming vibration feedback, but in daily use, it's impressively restrained, never distracting or out of place. Unlike some brands that use good hardware just to show off with flashy features, there's also dual stereo speakers. The GT8 Pro is equipped with the same 1115E speakers as the Mate 70 RS. While the tuning of the two speakers may not be as extreme as what you find on Redmi or Huawei, the sound quality definitely puts it in the top tier among Android devices. Let's do a quick cloud audio comparison with the iPhone 17 Pro Max to get a feel for the difference. The Realme GT8 Pro starts at 3,999 yuan, which is 300 more than the previous model. I'm not sure if you think it's worth it, but I feel this generation of Realme excels in every way. All previous shortcomings have been fixed, and most importantly, it delivers a fun, unique flagship design that's rare today. The camera offers emotional value and is a creative tool. The series stays true to its essence, while upgrading peripherals, improving the screen, keeping strong performance, and offering a well-rounded configuration. If the Ricoh GR style imaging appeals to you and your budget allows, the GT8 Pro is definitely worth considering. Alright, that's all for this review of the Realme GT8 Pro. If you found it helpful, feel free to follow, like, save, and share. This is Ziaran. See you next time.